In this video, I'm going to show you a 3-step process to help you get rid of tight hip flexors that you'll be able to perform in the comfort of your own home. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick right there and we're going to jump straight into it after the intro. What's up guys, Hayden here. So like I said in the intro, we're going to go through a 3-step process to help you with those tight hip flexors. But before getting to that, I just want to give you a bit of an idea of why your hip flexors might keep tightening up so much. So generally there are 2 main reasons for tight hip flexors, one being posture and the second one being weak and or inactive areas of the body. This is typically due to sedentary lifestyle, so a lot of sitting down and therefore tightening up the hip flexors as your hips are in a flex position, and then also areas of the body like your glutes, your anterior core and your lower back just becoming weak and inactive, so therefore other areas of the body have to kick on and take over. When areas of the body aren't doing their jobs efficiently, then other areas of the body have to pick up the slack. And with the hip flexors, if they're too tight, they're going to be disengaging areas of the body like your glutes, for example, which then leads to the hip flexors tightening up even more as they start to do more of the work. So since the hip flexors attach from down in the thigh right up into the lumbar spine, there's an area of the body that the hip flexors will take over when the anterior core, the lower back and the glutes aren't doing their job. And obviously if the areas aren't doing their job correctly and playing a role in, for example, spine stabilization, your body doesn't want to fall apart. So the hip flexors are going to kick on even harder. So now you've got the scenario where because you're in hip flexion a lot of the day by sitting, you're going to be tightening up the hip flexors due to that. And then because the hip flexors are doing more work by stabilizing the spine, they're going to kick on even harder. So this is one reason why a lot of people tend to have tight hip flexors. So in short, if your posture tends to lead to tight hip flexors, like for example, sitting down too much, and then alongside that, your areas of the body that are supposed to be doing their jobs efficiently switch off due to that type of posture, then you end up with the tight hip flexor scenario. This is obviously only one reason why tight hip flexors do show up, but it is generally a quite common scenario. One last thing before getting to the drills, if you happen to miss the previous at the desk office drills, make sure you check out that video. I'm going to link it right above. In that video, I go through how to go about the glute squeeze, which is a necessary component to a couple of the drills that I'm going to show you in this video. The beauty of this 3-step process is that each exercise builds on one another. So you start off by relaxing the hip flexor muscle, and then we go on to moving it through its ranges of motion, and then finishing off by activating the weak areas of the body. Anyway, let's jump straight to the drills. So the first drill is going to be the squat hold. This is a really great drill to help relax the hip flexor muscle from doing so much. I'm going to be using a pole for this one, but feel free to use any kind of fixed structure that you've got at your house. So perhaps the pole in your veranda, for example. But the first thing we're going to do, we come down to the floor into a squat position. I'm going to be holding onto the pole, and this is going to carry my weight for the initial portion of this drill. From here, we're trying to keep both heels on the ground, but if you need to begin with, I'm happy for your heels to come off the ground, but ideally you'll eventually plant them. So gripping onto the pole, make sure your weight is supported on the pole, and then we're gonna take a deep breath in, and we're gonna try and relax and sit lower into it. So now we're in this position. The next thing we have to do is think about caving forward in the torso. So again, taking a deep breath in and then breathing out and just relaxing forward. If you feel like you need to adjust your position of your body, just take a little step back so then you're able to reach a little bit further with the pole. So again, relaxed position, take a deep breath in and then breathing out. So as you can see in this drill, I'm really collapsed forward. I'm just relaxing, trying to push the knees out, also relaxing the hips and also the lower back. So again, deep breath in. With this one, your main goal is to obviously get rid of the pole and eventually be able to have palms facing up and being in the same position. So leaning forward and relaxing into it and taking deep breaths. Make sure when you do come up out of that squat hold that you just take your time. A lot of people tend to have quick blood rushes and that just makes them a little bit dizzy. So just be careful, keep hold of the object. So when you are down in your relaxed position, just take around about 6 to 10 breaths. So this will consist of deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And the whole time what you're just trying to focus on as well is pushing the knees away from one another and also just relaxing the torso into it as much as possible. So this second drill is a really great follow-up to the squat hold. It's called the hip roll drill, and there's going to be 3 variations to it. The first one is going to be lying down on your back on the ground. We're going to have our feet staggered, so 1 foot forward compared to the other one. Now from here, lying back upon the ground, and you're going to allow the knees to go towards the ground as best you can. So really just trying to relax into it. Once we get to one side, we're going to come around and we're going to rotate, and the knees are going to go to the other side. Your feet aren't going to change position at all. So really relaxing into it. So the second variation is going to be sitting up with this one. So keeping the feet in the same position, you're going to support your body weight from behind. And the same thing, we go hip roll, knees side to side. So really relax into it as best as you can. And to advance this one, the third variation is going to be sticking the arms out in front of you and continuing that movement. So trying to keep the feet in the same position and allowing the knees to come right down to the ground, all whilst keeping an upright torso. And with this one, same as the squat hold, you just want to breathe and relax as best you can. So that's a really great one to gain extra range in the hip joint. And obviously with the 3 variations, you can go to your level. So the final step in this 3-step process is to activate the lazy areas of the body, and in particular the glutes can be a #1 reason why the hip flexors tighten up even more so. So this one's just going to be the simple hip extension, and all it takes is for you to lie down on the ground. And if you, like I said, if you have watched the previous office videos, you're gonna have learnt the glute squeeze already. This plays a part here, but I'll go through it just briefly now. So lying back on your back and head relaxed on the ground, we can just go palms down, arms out straight. From here, I want you to think about arching the lower back, so going into anterior pelvic tilt, and then we're gonna go posterior pelvic tilt, so tucking the hips, squeezing the butt, and then we're gonna lift up the legs. Lift up the hips and squeezing the glutes as much as possible. When you're at this lockout, you wanna think about having a straight line from your shoulders right up to your knees. So this is the final position, then we're gonna come back down to the ground. Again, we'll go through the arch in the lower back, then tucking, and then lifting up, squeezing the glutes as best as you can, and try to think about breaking diamonds in your glutes, so you're really squeezing as hard as possible. Back down, arch, just to reset the body, so you don't actually need to go through the arch each time, but just sort of just trains you for now. So arch, lower back, tuck, squeeze the glutes, up to that position so we get a nice straight line, and hold. Squeeze and back down. So to advance that one, we can do a second variation whereby we just lift up one leg, have right angle in the knee, and pulling the toes towards us. So same thing, getting that butt into position, squeezing the glutes and lifting up through them as best you can, making them rock, and then back down to the start. Same thing, up and squeeze glutes as much as you can. So obviously you're going to be doing both sides, but think about for the first variation to maybe go around about 10 to 15 reps of just a hard concentration contraction, and then with the single legged, if you're ready for that one, just aim when you're beginning for around about 5 to 10 reps per leg. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know what you thought of those drills, and if you have any questions, make sure you leave them below in the comments section. If you like this video, leave a like, and if you want to see more videos like that, make sure you hit that subscribe button to let me know. And I guess that's about it for this week, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.